Franke speaks and he says that he believes his son in the abuse allegations. And it only took him 3 weeks to say that. Guys, make sure and click the plus sign. I'm going to have more on this. Sound off in the comments and tell me what you think. But we know Randy Kester, who is Kevin's lawyer, just spoke up again, which I thought he said he was done 2 or 3 weeks ago, spoke up again in a big 20-minute interview bombshell, and he has a lot to say. And in this one, he says that Kevin finally admits that he believes his son. I'm just going to play the clip and then we'll discuss.
But I don't know. He may be following the proceedings, but they're pretty inaccessible. Neither one of us have been willing to drive 250 miles just to go to a short hearing, and it's my understanding that the WebEx links have crashed, and so I just gather information and give it to him about what's going on.
Yeah, that's fair. As far as what Ruby has said to Kevin, has she denied these allegations and said it didn't happen?
They have not had that conversation.
Is there a reason why?
I think because it's pretty apparent to Kevin from the reports that it did happen. He believes his son, and the reports that his son has given to law enforcement.
Okay, so if you watched the first video, and if you haven't, make sure and click the plus sign, go check out the first video. In the first video, the timing was off. He said she hadn't spoken to him in 2 weeks. He had cut off contact. Then it was a week. So we're already back and forth on the timing of when he actually cut Ruby off. And then now, after all this time and all these interviews, remember he did another interview with Law and Crime. He's been all over the place. The first one he did, he's like, this is the only time we're going to speak. No, he can't keep his mouth shut. And now, all of a sudden, after all this time, we're hearing the revelation that he believes his son. Is it just me, or does anybody else just want to call horse crap? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I think is happening, and I've been saying this in these videos. So in that first video, apparently he had some bombshell talk with Ruby, and they won't say what it is that made him cut off all contact. And that specific talk recently, where it might have been 2 weeks ago, may have been a week ago, who knows, he felt betrayed, he felt hurt, he felt all these things. Here's my question. Hey, Kevin, why didn't you feel any of that for your children? Because I'll tell you what I think is happening. I think Kevin, his sole focus this whole time, as we know, has been all about Ruby and getting her back. Not the kids. If it was about the kids, he would have never abandoned them regardless of who requested what. You're telling me the man is so dense and easily manipulated, this professor, that he's just going to abandon his kids for 14 months and block them? We're supposed to believe that. So here's what I think happened. I think Kevin went to be the knight in shining armor for Ruby before he fully knew what was going on. And he thought, this is my way back in. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't care about his kids at all. I'm saying I don't think that's the focus. I'm sure he does to some degree, but any man that's just going to abandon them for 14 months because some person that they think is an authority figure tells them to, okay, well then you're not intelligent enough to have children, if that's really what we're going with, okay? But all of a sudden the interviews that we have with when it comes to Kevin and his lawyer, it's all about making sure both he and Ruby look as good as possible. And they kept saying, Kevin's trying to, get the family back, and he's trying to have the family come back together. He never wanted his family broken up. He never wanted to relieve Ruby. And then we just had an article that I put up yesterday. Literally, it was like an hour before this. The day before, there was an article that came out where his lawyer said, Kevin's not going to sling mud. And now we're hearing all of this, but he won't go into any details on what that phone conversation was that made him cut off all contact. I'll tell you what it is. I think that he was trying to save Ruby in this situation. Sure, I'm sure he's trying to get his kids back. I'm not saying he's not. I don't want to paint people as the ultimate villains and ultimate victims, because most people, there's way more gray areas and it's way more complicated than that. So I'm trying to be fair here. This is just really frustrating because, you guys are seeing the manipulation, right? It can't just be me. So Kevin is trying to figure out, how do I get my kids back and make sure and protect this one and get her back? Because that's been the ultimate goal this whole time. And then I think the bombshell was dropped on him in prison, that she and Jodi were in a relationship. And I think that is what set him off. Not losing your kids, not speaking to your kids for 14 months, not what they went through. I think what set him off is the fact that he understood that Ruby cheated on him with Jodi. And that's what did it. And so now he's throwing her under the bus to try to get the kids back. Because as the lawyer has said repeatedly, we are desperately trying to prove that he is a great father. We're proving it to the state. We're proving it to CPS. If he was a good father, they wouldn't have to prove it. And that's the point. So I think that's what we're seeing. Now, for somebody like Kevin, who in my opinion seems very unstable and very easy to manipulate, my question is, when does he now change the narrative and we go back to protecting Ruby? What will this one do to continue to manipulate this one? This dynamic between these two is going to be very interesting to play out. I just find this hilarious that we're supposed to believe he's a great father, and this is the first time we're hearing him say he believes his son. What do you mean you believe your son? You've seen the police reports. It just seems like they're trying to paint him in the best light while in the backside he was trying to save this one too. Which, how are you going to get your kids back and have her around them? I don't know. This is what I'm seeing. Is it just me, guys? This just gets more and more frustrating. I'll tell you, this lawyer is getting more and more irritating because I'm catching him in more and more stuff where he'll come out and not technically say lies, but he'll spin and craft stuff to the point where it's super misleading. And here's the thing. He's a lawyer. His job is to protect Kevin. I get it. But when there's kids involved, I don't appreciate it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Do you guys feel like we're being manipulated here? Sound up in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Click the plus sign. I've got more coming.